Welcome to First and 15, the only podcast that's trying to get you paid. I'm here with two-time FFPC champ AB. Alongside him is my Dio the Machine. All right, we got a live main event. So many big hitters are in this live. Of course, our very own AB is drafting out of the three-hole. But we also got Theo and Scott drafting together. It looks like Fantasy Sopranos
Theo,
is
Theo and
good to
Scott
go.
Beard on here.
Yeah,
Sopranos on
Theo and
here too.
Scott.
Okay,
Yeah. So we got some heavy
okay.
hitters here. Who did you pick?
I was trying to do a little bit of a dramatic pause as you were doing your intro, but it went. The board went pretty much via ADP. So, given that we had our wide receiver ranking show, it only made sense that, of course, I went Jamar Chase.
All right,
Abby,
all right.
last main event we did, you had a three hole as well, right? Or am I?
I feel
Am I?
like we did. I feel
No.
like we did. So I think definitely one thing that I want to make sure is I don't build too much of a similar team. I think it'd be hard to do. I feel like I had some value falling to me in certain areas. So yes, that's going to be the biggest thing this time around is just making sure that I don't build a team that is very close to what I
I
drafted
mean,
last
if
time
you
around.
guys fall that way, you guys fall that way, right?
That's true. It's hard to build an exact team, so I'm not too worried about
Yeah.
it. But up top, I
So,
like to be a little different.
so where's Scott? This screen is so small. Where's Scott and where's Theo?
Scott and Theo are out of the 8th spot, so at least we get to avoid
Okay.
each other. Yeah, this is one of those. Yeah, for us, I had no clue that they were even in this draft. So ideally, I would have, avoided jumping in this. But iron sharpens
That's all
iron.
good. What about Sopranos? Where's he at?
He's out of the 7 hole. So
Oh, he's
him,
right next to him.
yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. So we'll let them
Anybody
fight.
else we know in this draft at all? Anybody?
Some familiar faces. Smoking Joe's is a
Smoking
very,
Joe's, yeah.
very common
Okay.
name we see in these draft streets. Some of these other names are definitely familiar too as well. So I mean, it's a main event, and we're drafting in the year 2026. So I don't necessarily know that I'm expecting anybody to just give us players. So we'll see. We'll see. Really, what I want to try to hope and take advantage of are guys who are rising maybe a little bit too much because of the hype. Maybe they are eventually going to get where they settle, but when guys rise, other guys fall. So as long as it's a
Right.
guy that I'm on, hopefully we can take advantage of some fallers just because they haven't been in the news lately.
Yeah. I mean, it's looking like it's going pretty true to form as far as ADP, right? I don't really see any.
Yeah,
I mean,
nothing crazy.
maybe Jefferson. Where's Jefferson going these days, Abby? Is that his ADP or?
He's in that back. He's at that round 1-2 turn. So 9 may be one of the
Mm,
earlier times I've seen it, but
okay.
ultimately it's just a huge hodgepodge of just guys who go in and around that range. So
Yeah. Gotcha.
yeah, like we talked about yesterday on the pod. Just Jefferson is one of those guys. It's like he's hard. He's a hard clip for me. I wouldn't be surprised if I look back at the end of the year and he's like a top 4, top 5 wide receiver and easily
Yeah.
exceeds that ADP. But to me, it's just a hard click. I think I'd rather go elsewhere.
I
I'll,
mean,
I'll force a few shares.
what is Kyler gonna do? Is Kyler gonna force feed Jefferson or? I
Yeah,
mean,
and it's not a Justin Jefferson issue for me. I think he's in top 1, 2, or 2 tiers as far as wide receivers in the NFL. It really is a Kyler Murray worry. I don't know how well he's going to mesh
okay.
in this offense. I
Mm.
thought it was somewhat telling that we saw Jacoby Brissett be given the keys to the offense, and the offense seemed to somehow open up. Maybe
Yeah.
that was due to injury and just due to just need and necessity, but it just seemed like they were a lot more willing to push the ball down the field, to air it out a little bit more. And so that just has me wondering, is Kyler just not capable of that? I know he loves hitting the outside of the numbers, outside of the hash, but using that
That's
middle
a
of the field,
positive. That's a good thing.
it's a good thing, but I feel like he does not use the middle of the field the way that I hope. And so we'll see if he can get coached up. I mean, a lot of other quarterbacks of lesser talent have dominated in that system, at least for short periods of time. So we'll see. There's just a lot of unknowns. I just don't want to pay that tax. That's my whole thing this year. I don't want to pay a tax on a lot of these players.
Listen, I don't want to get ahead of our ranking show next week or potential show next week when we go through running backs, but Ashton Jeanty is still going before JT and James Cook. Specifically, I want to talk about James Cook here for a bit. Like, do you guys still see Jeanty ahead of James Cook if you're on the clock?
To me, they're both projections, to be quite honest. I mean, as good a year as James Cook had last year, it wasn't like he was really close to those upper echelon guys, at year's end. It wasn't like it was close to, hitting 350 plus 400 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to project increased pass volume. You have to project increase goal line volume. And he still plays with Josh Allen. So Josh Allen's still going to get his goal line TDs. And things broke very well for James Cook. He broke a lot of runs last year, and he may still break some more this year, but a lot has to go right for James Cook to just.
I mean, they're saying they're going to use him in the passing game this year, though.
That's what I'm saying, but you got to project it, right? And then so we also got to project that Ty Johnson, because they said all the running backs are being used in the passing game. So is it still going to be Ty Johnson there? Is Ray Davis still going to be there? And then the same thing with Jeanty. You got to project that Kubiak is going to lift that offense, that the offensive line is going to be healthy, that they're going to run block better, that the offense is going to be a little bit more complicated. So it's just, to me, it's like, what bet do you want to place? I like them both. And they go like at the back end. So oftentimes I'm drafting them both together.
Did we ever make a bet on James Cook versus Tony Pollard? I didn't. I feel like I said that Tony Pollard and somebody else are in the same, like.
That might have been like 2 years ago, I think.
But yeah, like I was like, yeah, okay.
That might have been like 2 years ago, if I'm correct.
All right. I was making sure because I forgot what the bet was. But
all right, so I'm still looking at this board. None of these picks really have surprised me thus far. This honestly looks like a typical FFPC draft.
Yeah, it's fairly standard. And, to me, there is a definite tier break as far as when people start feeling comfortable about certain players. And so, the Devin Achane pick, that was a guy that was actually in the last draft. He fell all the way back to that 210 or what it is. Yeah, the 210. And so I was able to pair Chase with Achane, which is nice because he doesn't often fall that late in drafts. So we'll see what happens. Right now, like you said, for the most part, the board is really following just ADP.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking today with Jonathan Taylor getting that contract, he probably should go up in value a little bit, especially with hearing Daniel Jones is looking healthy in camp.
Yeah. So
ranking wise, early Jonathan Taylor from last year, he was putting up numbers.
Yeah. Especially when that offense was humming. Ranking wise, do we end up putting AJ Brown ahead of Drake London or Drake London ahead of AJ Brown?
Drake London
ahead of AJ Brown.
Okay, so we got to hold true to that. We got to hold true to that.
You don't have to. You build your team the way you want to build your team, right?
That is true.
Especially if you have if you have shares and you're diversifying or whatever. Now it doesn't look like you're going to even have that choice. So,
so we have a couple different options here. So really at the top of my queue right now is Derrick Henry. I like to give myself a little bit of wiggle room in these drafts. And I sometimes I'll go 2 wide receivers, especially at the back end, but I feel a lot of people do that. I feel like sometimes people feel forced whenever you have Puka and Chase. You already took a wide receiver. Why not just lean into it? And especially because of what falls back here.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to avoid always falling in, I don't want to say a trap, but just where I think there are going to be a lot of teams where it's wide receiver, right? And so I think I'm actually going to go Derrick Henry here. Yeah.
If Derrick Henry wasn't available,
I would have easily gone.
Yeah,
I would have easily gone. I would have gone Drake London because to me, Derrick Henry is in that top tier. And like I said, I just I don't want to force myself into a 0 wide receiver build if I have two guys of similar caliber. I think there's still some question marks about London. I think that's why he's fallen. So it's close
What
enough
question
to
marks
where
though? Like what question marks?
just a
I
new
feel like he's
offense.
an alpha of
Yeah,
the new
he's
offense. I
an alpha,
mean,
but new offense. And you always
okay.
got to ask what what does that bring. So
Mhm. I mean, I just think it will be an improved offense regardless. It is new, it
yeah,
is foreign, so we don't know what it is, but
yeah,
if anything, I think it'll be a positive. I don't think it'll make it worse. I mean, unless the quarterback play is just horrendous.
yeah.
But the good
I
thing
mean, the
about the
play call
Falcons is, go ahead.
go. I mean, considering who the head coach is, I mean, he's typically pretty conservative with play
Okay.
calling, especially with
So
quarterbacks like Tua if he ends up getting there.
yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, so I got a few guys in the queue right now since we're OTC. We had the Nico discussion. I think per our discussions, decided to move him down. So I'm right now. I'm looking at Devontae Smith. I'm looking at a Brees Hall. I'm looking at a Tyler Warren, and I'm looking
Hmm,
at Emeka Buka,
hmm.
and I'm looking at Malik Neighbors. Any thoughts?
I definitely wouldn't go neighbors. I'm on Nico here, but I know how you feel about Nico, so I'd go Nico.
Ooh, this is tough. For right now, just based off of where we are in drafts and what we discussed last time we were here, I'm gonna go ahead and click on Devontae Smith here. This is kind of a safe pick. There's nothing, that others may feel sexy about it. We talked about this last night as far as just I think he's just a name that people are somewhat bored with. We've seen Devontae Smith. He's on the same team, but I don't know. It feels like people haven't fully realized the vacated targets. So he's either gonna prove to be that guy, or at the very least, I think it's gonna be hard for him not to hold up value in the third. But the third round is where you do want to find that guy that ultimately produces to some degree like a first or early second rounder. So that's gonna be the hopes with him.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get this feeling that he's always going to be a number two. Like he just feels
Devontae.
like, yeah, he just feels like a guy that's going to always be a number two.
I feel
So who
like
do you
he's been
think
a number
might be the
one.
number one?
Yeah, he
Huh?
was a number one all throughout college, like one of the most
That's
all time number ones in the SEC when the
that
SEC was the SEC. And
that's
then his first year, he was a number one before AJ Brown got there.
he wasn't really a number one.
Are you saying number one is in value, like the top 12 wide receiver? Or are you saying a number one, like the number one receiver for the Eagles?
I'm saying the number one receiver for the Eagles. Like not
So
even
who do you think will be the number one there?
I can see Makai
Dontavian
Lemon.
Wicks,
No,
Makai
I can see
Lemon?
Makai. Yeah, I can see Makai Lemon being a number one.
Oh,
Move
that
it up to
that
the
that
middle.
that, that I do not see, because you remember you had I don't and it is important, but you either had the head, I think it was the head coach, or there was reports coming out that they strongly believe that Devontae Smith, they have a JSN in Devontae Smith, that they strongly believe that Devontae Smith can do what JSN did. And that was I think a big push and reason why they were, okay and in agreement with moving AJ Brown.
Sopranos got a value on Nico. Sorry to interrupt. So I'll
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
go ahead though.
big value.
Yeah. So if the team is, looking to get him the ball, looking to move him around, and this again is more, I think, advantageous offensive system for him, where maybe he'll get some layups, he'll get some off coverage, they'll get some play action, some misdirection. To me, I don't know. I feel like this is a huge, huge win for him. And then we also, you can't forget that AJ Brown was a huge red zone weapon too as well. So I don't know. I personally I see double digit TDs in Devontae Smith. I really do. I really do.
No. I
And
mean,
we'll see.
they're not going to run end arounds on him. Like I don't see him as this big red zone threat. Like I see him as a route technician. Like I give you that. Like
Nobody saw JSN like that. Nobody saw JSN as a red zone threat. Not at all. You can't. Nobody saw JSN as a red zone threat. And no.
Well, sure.
So, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, it's I know that, like, I think, Chris, what you're saying, I think subconsciously a lot of people believe, and I just think that people are somewhat respecting it and scared to maybe speak out against, you know, in a negative light against Devontae Smith, because otherwise I don't see a reason why he shouldn't be higher on the board, you know. But, and it's not like I mean, going early to mid third is not like an egregious ADP by any means, but
there has not been a running back taken since Jeremiah Love. It's been straight yellow with a drop of Josh Allen.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if this, you know, we start to see like a little bit of a different trend than what we were seeing earlier, where maybe we're starting to get some more of the best ball crowd into redraft, people who are used to drafting wide receivers and seeing these wide receivers go earlier, and now they get into the FFP street and they're like, what? Ladd McConkey in the fourth or Ladd McConkey in the fifth round. And, you know, people start getting a lot more excited about that. And now we start to see the wide receiver rise. Because I think this, as we get closer to the season, I feel like it always tends to trend towards wide receivers rising up the board a little bit, where earlier on, I think people were just going with the safe bets with the running back. And then as people just start to get steamed up, wide receivers seem to make their way up the board. At least that's kind of what I've noticed, I feel like. You know what's interesting? Oh, this is interesting. Breece Hall still on the board.
I know. A lot of running backs are still on the board.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
And Jacobs went ahead of Breece Hall too. So yeah, we
talked
briefly about the Jets, but when we get to our running back rankings, we'll go on that.
They're still on the board. They're falling, but you're not even going to be able to benefit from it. Like,
no,
I hate when this happens. Like, you're just watching it happen. Like, what's going on? This is crazy, and you know, you still can't take advantage. It sucks.
Yeah, and there's reasons like why I don't like pulling people way past ADP, because forget about the teams that like were able to take advantage of that ADP, but you know, like the Ladd McConkey team, right? He grabs Ladd McConkey early, and then he may have some value fall back to him, but that's no different than like him taking Ladd in the fourth, and then, you know, say he went Breece Hall in the 10th, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see who falls to him. You know, I was surprised to see Tyler Warren fall to the fourth. It's been a while since I've seen him fall that far back.
That's a nice little draft thing 12 is having. They're getting a lot of value falling to him.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that back end is easy. It's just like, all right, this is what you're gonna let me have. I guess I'll take it, you know.
Yeah. All right, Ted finally off the board too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy to see Ted go off the board.
That's kind of early for him, right? Or is that
a little bit? I think he typically, you know, mid fourth is his normal 80.
Mid fourth. Yeah,
but it's just nice knowing he's not gonna fall back to me. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I mean, I would have I would definitely, you know, consider him. I know we have him ranked fairly low, but if I got to grab a share here or there, like, you know, we see what happens. Luther Burden going a little bit early too. See,
I would take him at value. I would take him, you know, if he falls a little bit.
Yeah. So see, Team 10, I'm not knocking what Team 10 is doing, but to me, Team 10 is going to have a hard problem. He's going to have to make it up in the back end of the draft, because Team 10 has been drafted with an additional third rounder. You know, I have plenty of drafts where I have Luther Burden in the fifth, and then I have a Ladd McConkey equivalent in the fourth. But then I also have another third round pick on top of that, right? So that's why I was, you know, talking about, like, if you continue to pull people up the board, you eventually create these teams that have to fight against teams that have additional third round picks.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're knocking his team though. But
in a vacuum, no.
In a vacuum, but it sounds like you're knocking his team, but it's all good.
In a vacuum, no. But in a vacuum, I mean, you can also ask how many. If you look at all the Ladd McConkey, Luther Burden teams, like combination teams that he's going to be potentially going up against, a fair amount of them are going to have an additional third round pick. So, like I said, he can kill it in the rest of the draft and find the ultimate sleepers and things like that. So those are always potentials.
I think in these drafts right now, you can really get people players that have a potential of like being top of their position all the way through the top 6 rounds. Like I think he still has time to make up any kind of loss of value he's had thus far. Now, once you get into round 7 and 8, that's when it's like, okay, if you don't have the guys there, now you're just taking flyers and you're hoping for a major sleeper. But
I don't know. I feel
like there's a player like for instance, a player like Christian Watson, right? He could potentially be somebody available for him at the late 5th, who's somebody that you can envision might be top 5 in fantasy points this year, right? Like there's still players that have that opportunity.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like whatever team he builds, there's going to be a team out there that has his exact team plus a 3rd rounder.
Yeah, but that 3rd rounder they have didn't allow them to pick another player that potentially again can be a top player in those 5th and 6th rounds.
Yeah,
like you're basically swapping. I mean, the value obviously is not as high, but that doesn't mean they don't have an opportunity.
Because Christian Watson was going in the late 5th, 6th round.
Yeah, he was.
Earlier draft. Yeah. So if you have a team, if you draft in this team, but somebody else has this exact team, say Christian Watson falls. Okay, we on the clock. I do not want to take. Okay, let's see who they leave me with here. So we're gonna have some interesting decisions here.
Who you saying you don't want to take?
Can't talk the board because that player may fall back.
No, I'm asking who you saying you don't want to take.
So I don't even want to say that because again, that player could fall back to me. So we'll see. This person in front of me may make it easy. Honestly, he somewhat made it easy for me. We talked about Garrett Wilson last night, and I feel like this is decent value. Do I love Garrett Wilson? Not really. I'm not in love with him, but that doesn't. Sometimes these guys that you aren't in love with, they can break out. They can have a tremendous year. Wasn't in love with JSN last year, but you force fed yourself shares and you reap the rewards. So we're gonna go Garrett Wilson with this one. The other guys, the other guy that I had was Javonte Williams. He typically doesn't fall that far. We've seen Travis Etienne falling. Maybe it's warranted, but sometimes these guys who are getting negative buzz or having negative sentiment, I like to just see how far they will fall. That's kind of what I was doing with Neighbors in drafts earlier this year in Jacobs was how far can they fall? Can I get some of these teams where they're like 2 to 3 rounds where ultimately their ADP is going to end up towards the back end of the year. So
that Garrett Wilson pick is a good pick though.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm not upset with it. And I think I feel like I got a lot of options now coming back around to me. So that was also the thing. And we'll talk about this. So
yeah. And it's Travis Etienne, by the way, not Etienne.
Travis Etienne. Yeah.
Etienne.
I may just have to call him Travis.
Right.
Yeah. May just have to call him Travis.
All right, so let's talk about this build real quick. I mean, earlier on in the season, you were but you didn't like when I called it robust RB, but you were picking a lot of, you start your drafts, hammer at running back. It seems like this team is a different build than what you normally build with, essentially Derrick Henry almost playing hero RB if you take a receiver here. Like, how comfortable do you feel with this build, knowing like how you built other teams like during the season?
Yeah, honestly, like this isn't, for me, I'm not like trying to draft a bunch of running backs. I just, especially like in the first 4 to 5 rounds, honestly, I just draft who I think is going to score the most fantasy points. And then occasionally, you mix in some variety, you try to adjust a little bit on the fly, you try to, acquire some shares here or there. But for the most part, I'm just drafting who I think is going to score the most points. So a lot of my teams have been drafting towards the back end. So I feel like the running backs back there offer me higher upside. So let's get back to this OTC though. So I got none of these guys are gonna make it back to me likely. So I got QJ, David Montgomery, Christian Watson, and Mike Evans. We could lean into the wide receivers. It was between QJ and Christian Watson. What you guys throw out a quick name?
Well,
It's
I'm gonna
between
say
who?
not QJ.
QJ or Christian Watson?
Like, who's QJ? Quentin Johnson?
Yeah.
Quinn Johnson. Yeah,
Bro, what are you talking about? No.
yeah. You can't do. I love the Judkins pick. I definitely wouldn't do Quentin Johnson. He's having a terrible camp.
All
Not
right.
doing
Q,
well.
Why did you even consider Quentin Johnson? Like, did I miss
no,
something while I
not
was
Quentin Johnson.
buffering or something?
Quinshon Judkins.
If you'd have said
Okay.
Quinshon Judkins, then I'd have said Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like, hold on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I thought I
between him
missed
and
something.
Mike Evans, who would y'all have considered? Oh, sorry, Christian Watson.
Between Judkins and Evans?
Watson.
Oh, Watson and Evans.
Yeah.
I
No,
go
between Quinshon Judkins and Watson, who would y'all have?
Judkins.
Yeah.
Judkins.
I would have went Judkins, yeah. I
Yeah.
might have went Evans over Watson too, though.
Yeah. I
I'm
just
slowly coming around on
Mhm.
Watson a little bit, man. I
Yeah.
wasn't on him earlier.
and I'm just like I have so much Evans. Like I think Evans is my highest owned wide receiver, but
Oh, is he?
like one of my highest owns. Probably Zachariah Branch, my highest owned, but Evans is one of my higher owned wide receivers. So I have to be cautious. I have to be careful because he is old. Like I'm not. I know we talk about injuries and you can't predict injuries, but I do know stats as far as elderly players, and so he's not
I mean,
somebody
he
that's
does
going to be
practice by that
Yeah.
electrical station in
right.
San
And
Francisco.
it's,
So, I
and
mean,
it's
the
close
risk
enough.
obviously is higher.
Yeah, and it's close enough to where Christian Watson can still break out. But I still think that's a team that really ultimately wants to spread the ball around more than we think. So,
No, like I said, I'm coming around on Christian Watson. Now that I started kind of think about it, just kind of see his situation. I
Mhm.
think the problem I had with Christian Watson before is I was kind of high on Jaden Reed. I actually thought Jaden Reed was the number one receiver there. Christian Watson was just kind of like the deep threat, or whatever. But
yeah,
I mean, Christian Watson, I guess he's played like a number one, and I don't know. I don't know how that offense is really going to truly look. Not even considering Matthew Golden, the first rounder from last year, but I know Christian Watson probably has the highest ceiling than all of
Yeah.
those guys, so I kind of get the pick.
Hey, the chat is talking about Tootin, Bashal Tootin. Obviously, he went right after QJ. But how far do you see Quentin Junkins? Because I can't call him QJ.
yeah.
Quinshon Judkins and Bashal Tootin. Like, how far do you see them apart? Because I see a huge gap between them personally.
I think I probably lean with you too, where I think the gap is significant. I do think that Quinshon is going to get a lot of touches. There's still a question mark, just given the coach's history, how much he's going to be involved in the passing game. And then you can obviously argue the Jags offense is going to be significantly better than the Browns. But I think that is the luxury that you're playing or that you are getting with the Browns players. Like it's built into their ADP that everybody thinks that there's going to be a terrible offense. And in a world where everybody has access to everything, there's so much information and it's very hard to find edges. One of the few places is taking advantages of some of these offenses. It's still a betting favorite that the Browns are going to be near, if not at the bottom of the league. But what if they're not? If they're not, now you just drafted a running back on a serviceable offense. It's going to see significant goal line work. And he's looked good. And it's not like he's not going to get any love or touches in the pass game, right? He's going to get plenty of touches, I think, in the pass game in the way of screens, a few dump downs. He's just not going to be playing a lot of third down. So he looked really good last year. I was actually, I was a lot higher on him, I think, than most. I had him above Trevion. I thought he was a better back, the better overall running back. And he really reminds me of a Nick Chubb light as far as how efficient he is with the rock in his hand. I love the way I like the way he runs. I like the force that he runs with. I like the vision that he has, the burst. Hopefully that burst returns. It sounds like it is. Just all the research I've done with this type of injury, his specific injury, especially compared to Scatterboo, is that he should be closer towards normal than most. So we'll see. So that's kind of what I'm telling myself for this team is that this offense is not as bad as people think. It's serviceable. And Todd Monken, I just, that's the other big thing too, is Todd Monken, like when it comes to the run game, has always just excelled. So he can do a lot of those components over to this team, and I think we may see some big things. So
Look, can you imagine a world where they take Tootin like off the field for goal line work now that they have Christian Rodriguez, and
oh yeah,
then
absolutely.
also like third down, maybe put LaQuint Allen. Like I can see a lot of scenarios where he's not necessarily on the field for like high value plays.
Yeah.
That's the only thing about Tootin with me.
Oh, so the FFP has pup status labels on players now. I wonder if that will like subconsciously drop certain players' ADPs.
Yeah, Junkins more steady. Yeah.
Jimmy Williams.
So, Jimmy.
Yeah. And you know, they go close together, so it's not necessarily that, you know, I'm betting the farm that Judkins will
I
outscore.
just think Rodriguez is going to get a lot more work than people wanted to accept.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. With that. Kraft, Laporta, double up. That's an interesting start. Number 9. Not only do you go early quarterback, you also get 2 tight ends. It's an interesting start.
Let's see what they
Jonathan
do with the
Brooks.
running back too, though.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks going early is interesting too as well.
He's steady steaming up boards, man,
Mhm.
and it's crazy.
He went that high in your last draft too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I got to start loading up the queue. There's honestly a lot of guys that I kind of just want to pass on.
Yeah.
Parker Washington's getting higher as well.
Yeah. I want to say I'm pretty sure that I think Scott. I'm pretty sure Scott's high on Parker Washington, so I'm not too surprised by that.
Oh, that's right. That's the Theo and Scott Bear team. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really even pay attention. So they got 4 receivers, 2 running backs. So they obviously kind of like TreVeyon Henderson. They think he's gonna be all right. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Sopranos, he has okay. They're kind of building similar teams. Like when I look at Brock Bowers, I kind of view him like a wide receiver for some reason. Like I don't know why. Which means like all my Brock Bowers teams, I end up like getting another tight end. That's like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like I always build like at
Right.
least a 2, if not 3 tight end team with my Brock Bowers team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a year where, you know, if you're in the right position, I think, you know, I'm looking at certain tight ends versus guys going around them. And I just feel like the tight end is going to score more points. And then you have the luxury of having that tight Kenny Gainwell. Wow.
Somebody's seeing it. Somebody's seeing it.
Couldn't be
Respect.
me.
I can't even read the name of that team.
I
Team
can't
4.
do it. Yeah, I couldn't do it. Not that. Okay, so now we're looking at. We just did the ranking show, so this is not. You know, this is one of those situations where Carnell Tate has fallen a little bit past ADP. I think I'm slightly a little bit higher on Marv as far as, you know, not the ideal scenario, but
Maserati.
Yeah,
Maserati.
For the rookie. This is pretty late for the rookie, right?
Somewhat. Looking at the board here, I'm actually going to go tight end.
Hey, hold up, Chris. Can you put that back up?
Yeah. So you're going.
They said they're going to They said they're going to the Jags practice. Is that what they just said?
Yeah. He said he's not buying.
Okay. Draft hustle. We're going to need you to report back.
Yeah.
You need a lock in, focus, pay attention to the individual. Look. Pay attention to who's the order when they're in line, when they're doing the individual drills. All right. Pay attention to like who's getting all the targets during the team, all of that stuff, and let us know what you see, man.
And we'll get you on the pod, man, to report live. Let us give us the inside scoop.
Right. All right, Cornell Tate went right
I
after.
didn't even know you went likely.
Yeah, I
Okay.
went likely because I feel like we'll see. I think I have a lot of options here with this round 3 pick, but
Okay.
I'm okay with Marvin Harrison. But I think likely is more important. I think there are other guys around Marvin Harrison that I would have been okay with, and that I would have just like felt like, okay, let me just like naturally diversify.
Mhm.
So
I feel uneasy every time I draft Likely, and I only drafted him twice, and I was like, yeah,
he seemed,
that's
I don't
just
know, to me, he seemed like such an easy click. We talk about
mm,
this, we've been talking about this for 5 years now, as far as like what our tight end strategy is. And a lot of people talk about this too as well. And that's that, you know, what we want is a tight end that can either lead the team in targets or be second in targets. And he has one of the best situations available. So I got two guys here that we're looking at. Could always go quarterback
Abby,
early.
were you concerned? Were you concerned? Were you worried that likely was going to be taken
Yeah.
in those next 4 picks? And
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely,
okay.
absolutely, absolutely. So, and then like I just had a number of wide receivers on my board, and clearly Lamar being go. So right now I'm looking actually at between Lamar. I think I've done the Lamar thing. Right now I'm not necessarily wanting to push that.
If you take Lamar, that means you're going to have the passing and the running game for
Yeah,
the
and I like
Ravens.
because I like that offense. But I'm looking at
mhm.
Marvin Harrison, and don't be surprised when I'm actually looking at Chris Godwin here too as well. I'm hearing that
You
he's getting a
almost
lot
took
more
Marvin with
touches.
the last pick, so now you're gonna pass on him
Oh
again?
no, it gives you the ceiling though that Mark
Say
can give
what?
you.
What'd you say?
Go ahead, there.
What'd you say?
No,
No,
Dio says I gotta know if he gives you the
I think
ceiling.
it's on you, Chris.
No, but
Okay.
you passed
Yeah.
on Marvin Harrison, and then now you're gonna pass on him again?
Well, I mean, I had a couple guys in the queue. So it's always a discussion. But these are like the picks where, and obviously at times you see Mar fall. We saw him fall the last few weeks just because of all the videos, or at least the one or two videos that have been floating out. But you also have been hearing a lot of like great things about him. And again, we talked about it. We don't need to like rehash it, but me personally, I'm not going to be surprised if he comes back this year and everybody's talking about how good he looks. And we're talking about him as easily a top 24, top 15 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Draft hustle. Yeah. Lamar, I mean, this is the year where QBs are falling. So I've definitely seen Lamar fall towards the back end of 7. I think, that 7-8 turn is typically the tipping point where somebody's like, okay, let me just grab him. But there's just a lot of great quarterback options. I have something that I'm going to attempt to accomplish in this draft without speaking out of turn. We'll see. I think it's going to be a little bit harder now, but yeah, quarterbacks just fall a little bit further. They fall a little bit further in these drafts this year.
By
You
the way,
shouldn't even said anything, Abby. You should just
Yeah.
we have to pick his draft order again, guys. Like, which I get the exclusive on what's happening at camp. So consider that done.
Yeah.
hey, that Blake Corum pick is wild. I've never seen him go that high ever. Is
Yeah.
there
This
something I missed? Is there some kind of was there a news blurb that said anything about him and Kyron's workload or something?
nothing new. I think this
Okay.
team 4 seems to, let me get 3,
They like
workhorse.
Corum.
Yeah, let me get the wide receivers and then just sort of kind of load up on running backs.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see.
What are y'all thoughts on Tony Pollard this year?
Hmm. I mean, injuries are piling up. I mean, Spears is still there. I mean, it seems like they want. I mean, they got what Dayball as their OC now. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think he's going to get those receivers involved. Like, they have a pretty decent, wide receiver room. I don't know. Maybe they
Paul
sling it
runs the
around.
ball though.
He does, but he also gets his, like gets his
Dayball ran the
receivers.
ball with Scatterboo and Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
running
yeah,
backs will be involved. It's just one of those situations where how often they're going to be in the red zone. Is it going to be divvied up amongst the running backs? I think people view Tony Pollard as sort of kind of an older running back. I
yeah,
don't have an issue with him in the
Mm-hmm.
7th round at all.
yeah.
I just think the upside there is it's probably minimal. Goddard was actually the guy that normally falls back towards the 8th round, and I was hoping to kind of be able to pair him with Devontae Smith, but that did not happen.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It wasn't like I was
Chris, you're gonna have to scroll the board up.
Oh yeah, I got you. Hopefully the audio doesn't click out like yesterday.
Yeah.
Damn.
Let's see. Goddard went kind of high in this draft too.
Mm-hmm.
That was Theo and Scott that did Goddard, huh?
Yeah. I actually have a lot of Goddard teams, but normally I'm able to get him in the 8th round without much of any difficulty.
I like Goddard, but like you said, it's somebody I see go a lot later than that.
Yeah, I mean, well, these quarterbacks are really falling. That's crazy.
Yeah, and sometimes too, it's just like you never really know because I don't think we've gotten to that watershed moment yet. But like, there is a watershed moment where you're like, oh, nobody's taking quarterbacks early, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me just wait. And you got to make sure you're in the right part of the draft because you don't want to end up where then the QB run happens and then somebody doubles up on a QB and then you thought you were going to get this great value and you don't. But even then, like there's still a ton of quarterbacks late. So I don't know. I don't mind pushing the envelope whatsoever.
Yeah. Yep. That QB
Can
run
show.
is out to hit.
Yeah.
So I see. Oh, okay. At first I was gonna say, I think should Rico Dotto be gone after Jalen Warren?
I think so.
I mean, to be honest, Gainwell damn near took that position when he was there last year. And Rico just came off an amazing season. I can see Rico just stealing that job.
Yeah.
I think Rico thinks he can steal that job.
Is Rico pretty good in pass protection? Because you got to be able to protect Aaron Rodgers if you're going to play in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Jalen Warren significantly better in pass pro than Rico.
That might be what gets them on the field or keeps them on the field.
Yeah. Anico was right. He was right about the Goddard Hurts comment. That was, I don't push.
What about Goddard? I'm sorry, I missed the comment.
Yeah, it was just one thing I was kind of alluding to earlier. It's like, Goddard would have felt and it would have been, something I would have considered to try to grab Hurts with him. Stacks is something I do not go out of my way to get. But if they fall to value, that's when I'll try and take advantage.
Are you pretty high on Hurts this year? Like, is there somebody?
Yeah. But I'm high on a lot. I mean, honestly, like I said, I'm high on a lot of quarterbacks. And in a tournament setting, my mindset is not which one of these guys is going to finish the year as the QB3, the QB4, the QB5. It's I want to have shares of all these guys because I don't know who's going to finish the year as a QB1 between weeks 15 and 17. Like you just don't know, right? Last year it was Trevor Lawrence and Brock Purdy, right? And so if you didn't really have those guys, you were at a huge deficit, compared to everybody else. And then of course, injuries happen to quarterbacks as well. So, I like to, if I can, have another quarterback to pair with my, with my QB1 if possible.
I can already tell this is the type of draft where everybody's going to try to wait as long as they can on quarterback.
Yeah. There you go. So you got the first one.
Kind of dug in a little bit.
But that's almost 2 rounds past ADP.
Yeah.
Who has Higgins? Okay. Sopranos has Higgins. I wouldn't be surprised if they take Burrow.
No.
No, that's Scott and
Theo. Yeah, Theo and Scott have.
I wouldn't be surprised if they take Burrow. If they don't take Burrow, they're probably just going to wait on quarterback as long as they can until they see some significant value.
Yeah.
But then after that, I mean, I could see people waiting on quarterbacks.
Yeah, let's see if he takes him here.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the little things coming out in Denver about Sutton not practicing and there being questions about why he's not practicing?
Yeah, it's 3 straight days, right? But I haven't heard anything about why.
Yeah.
Do you know
Probably
why?
some kind of injury.
Yeah.
What do you think they might trade him? Is that what you alluding to, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that's what people were alluding to
Are
is
you
that they
for
might
real?
trade him. Yeah, but I don't know that
Oh
there's any
wow.
credibility behind it. But that's kind of been some of the word that's been coming out is that why
If
is he
they
not
if they trade
practicing?
Sutton,
Hmm?
but if they trade Sutton, who benefits on the Broncos? Pat Bryant?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then
Hmm.
yeah, Pat Bryant, yeah, but Joe Burrow, yeah, and that's kind of the thing. He was like, look, Joe Burrow, how often does Joe Burrow fall to the eighth? Like, let me just take him now, and
Hmm.
I would have considered that too as well.
Yeah. All right.
So we got a lot of guys on the
I feel
board.
like there's a tight end or two on the board that's falling right now. But I can't figure out who it is. Okay,
Uh,
I think
you
I think I
probably,
know who it is.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. And Chuba is 2 rounds after Jonathan Brooks. And he's the starting running back.
You said say that again.
Chuba is drafted 2 rounds after Jonathan Brooks. And he's technically the starting running back.
Do people think Jonathan Brooks is going to be the starter out the gate for the
I mean,
Panthers? Or are
I think
people
that they,
just trying to make an investment now because they feel like he has such a high ceiling on the back end of the season? Like, what is the thinking there?
Yeah, but you see how you said what was it? You said technically. You see how you use the word technically in there?
hmm
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you use the word technically the way you did to me says a lot.
Well, no, I mean,
Because you
I
didn't just say,
believe,
"Oh, he's a starting running back." You said technically he's a starting running. That's what people feel. People feel like he's not going to be the starting running back for a long time. I think a lot of the issues that
Mm,
Chuba has had, at least from a metric standpoint, has been that he's been terrible in the pass game. He's also been kind of inefficient in the run game too, as well. Maybe some of that was injuries, but even before the injuries, it was kind of eh. And then he lost his job to Rico Dowdle, the same guy that they decided not to bring back.
yeah,
And so, to me, if you think Jonathan Brooks is healthy, I don't think that the talent level is close. Uh, to me, if you think Jonathan Brooks is healthy, he can also be utilized in the pass game. He's also a bigger back. Whether he comes out and just takes the job directly, that's always tough to say. I don't know. But
yeah,
to me, like it was easy for me to make. He's one of my higher owned running backs, but this is when he was going eighth round and later. So it was easy to build teams around him
hmm
and be able to get Jonathan Brooks as like my first bench guy. Now you're taking him as a starter, which may still work out and pan out, but I got so many teams where he's my bench guy that I'm okay letting people take him in the early sixth round.
yeah, yeah. Talk about this Dalton Kincaid pick. Like, what's the thought process behind Dalton?
Yeah, I'm a huge Dalton guy. I think if you look back at last year, he was dealing with the PCL injury, he was dealing with the quad injury, he was dealing with a lot of other injuries. It wasn't the PCL injury all year. He was dealing with multiple injuries. And if you look at the games, even with the limited snap count that they had him on because they were monitoring the PCL injury, if you look at those games, he still produced very, very well in those games. Okay.
Yeah,
And I just don't look at this team and I think, oh, this guy is going to be a target hog, or I'm worried about this guy scoring and dominating and getting 160, 150 plus targets. I think there's plenty of room, and it's a high-powered offense. So even if if I can just get him to be the second best receiving option from a fantasy standpoint output, like we stand to gain a lot. And it's guys like this that, okay, they've done one thing for a couple of years. And so we just assume that it's going to be the same thing moving forward. But
hmm
if his snaps increase this year, then that's when you can really see him explode into a top 5 tight end.
yeah, yeah.
So I think there's a lot of outs, even without him really, breaking out. I feel like he has a lot of outs to be, at least on my end. That's how I feel. So now we got a lot of ways that we can play this. There's one player that's been getting a little bit of buzz recently. And I think on this team, I'm going to look to bring him up the board a little bit.
Double tap tight end.
Who? Oh, the guy before. Yeah, he had to. I mean, he didn't have to, but you feel the pressure a little bit. You don't know what's going to make it back to you. And a guy that everybody was high on, like Chig, with to me, the Diggs signing hurts him probably the most outside of Antonio Williams, obviously. Okay, so I think this may be the first time a lot of people see this, but this is kind of where I'm at with this.
Oh, Ja'Cory Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
That's a recency bias, brother. That's a recency bias, man.
It's a recency bias. You're right. I could be reading a little bit too much into the camp hype, but sometimes, like, the thing, it just makes sense. I have way more Rachaad White. Again, I don't want to lean on I was drafting early and I got these guys late, but that's what happened. Like you draft early and you're getting Rachaad White in the double-digit rounds, and it was easy, right? And it was a new signing, but we all remember Rachaad White as a runner. And I go back to the fact that they have a new offensive coordinator. They want to be more under center. They want to be able to establish the run game. And I'm not thinking of him as, okay, this guy is going to win and be the lead back role. I think that each running back is going to have its role, but I think they do want Ja'Cory Croskett to be the main running back, because I think for this offense to work, you need someone who's very efficient and explosive in the run game. And I like a guy like him. Again, he's coming into his second year now. Remember, that year before last year, he was coming off an injury. He really didn't play a lot his last year. So now you get a second year in, maybe the vision's a little bit better. Maybe he's just feeling a little bit more comfortable. And if he can get a little bit more, just enough in the passing game, this may be a guy who may be in at the goal line. And Dale, you talk about it a lot. When we're reading camp reports, forget about the highlights, forget about who scored. Look at who is in, who's in what position, or what player is in at which position with the first team offense. And I've just seen multiple clips now and have heard multiple beat reporters talk about him being in with the first team at the goal line. And then one of those was him breaking out and catching a touchdown, at the goal line with Jayden Daniels. So at least they're exploring it. And so we'll see. I'll be right back, fellas.
What do you wait, before you go.
I'll be right back.
Oh man. I was gonna ask him about Katron Allen. Is that the rookie that just drafted? I think maybe it was a 4th round pick, maybe 5th round, I don't know. But if JCM doesn't come through, I wonder if he's given an opportunity, because there probably is some value in that backfield. I mean, for what it's worth, I've been JCM this whole time, but I'm also low on Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White is going to have his role, and honestly, neither of them are somebody I was really, trying to acquire. But I'm always going to kind of side on the guy that has the chance to get those goal line carries, and probably would be the starter and things like that.
So that's actually what I was going to bring up, is that, like, I think, like, signing Stefon Diggs does improve that offense. And so, like, I would want a guy who can get some of those touches on the goal line. So
yeah. But I would argue that he probably could have got JCM. I'm talking about Abbott. He probably could have got JCM in the 10th round. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe the hype is, steam them up a little bit in these drafts. But somebody I do like, though, and actually 2 players I like. I like Dobbins and I like Mason this year. There's some running backs late that have value, in my opinion.
See, I'm assuming that Claiborne is going to ultimately take that job.
Like, Desmond Claiborne?
Yeah, like, I've seen enough.
Man, he's small, man.
Yeah, I guess with Kyler being that quarterback, like, that would look funny to have Claiborne.
2 small guys in the backfield. No, I mean, I don't know. He's fast. I mean, maybe he can turn into a Chris Johnson light, maybe. I don't know, because he was small too coming into the league, but I don't know, man. I don't know if he can handle that type of workload.
Now, somebody brought up earlier that they said Parker or Brian Thomas Jr. talking about, like the Jacksonville receiving group. They have a lot of passing options there. They still got Hunter that's there. Obviously, Jacoby Myers. What I don't get, and again, I think we talked about this a couple years ago, is that we can have someone like Parker being drafted in the sixth, BTJ being drafted in the seventh, but then Trevor Lawrence is being drafted so much further past
Yeah,
all the other receivers who don't have like a duo or a trio that is
yeah.
drafted that high. Like it's just that variance that gets me every time. It's like something's got to give. Either we're
I
wrong
mean,
about
I
those
I
receivers,
agree.
or we're wrong about Trevor Lawrence. But something's got to
I
give.
think I think with Trevor Lawrence is just that it's something we haven't seen a lot in his past. Like we saw him, really, produce in the second half of last year.
Yeah,
Um, and we've also seen the really, really bad Trevor Lawrence. And then on top of that, like you look at the quarterbacks that have been drafted thus far, maybe you can make an argument he should go over Dak. Maybe you can make an argument he should go over Caleb. But it's going to be hard for you to convince somebody to draft him over those other, five other quarterbacks that were drafted. So it's like, at best he's a top six or sorry, yeah, top six quarterback. I think in this draft he's probably going to be one of the next two or three quarterbacks taken. So I still think he's a top 12 quarterback. So people still view him as a quarterback one, but I don't think people are ready or to, really, really truly believe what they saw at the back end of last year.
yeah,
With that being said, I do think there's a lot of value there, and I think the biggest reason I believe that is because I feel like he can run the ball, and he
yep.
actually
And that's
did
what I was
use
about
his
to
legs a
bring up.
lot last year. And
Yep.
those are the type of players that really can give you a lot of fantasy points. So he's a guy I'm targeting. And speaking of the devil, he was just drafted, but he's a guy I'm targeting, and I like the fact he's going late. So I'm not going to try to hype him up, but I can kind of understand the sentiment.
Yeah,
Who's
but he
that?
reigns. Trevor Lawrence. I was
Yeah.
talking about the variance between how many receiving options that he has versus where he goes, like
Yeah.
relative to other quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I feel so. I don't feel a need to stack. So, what happens is that I think you have a number of players in the draft that do want to stack or that are maybe high on a certain quarterback. And so you just naturally get to diversify with these guys. So just take the last one, you know?
No, Abby, he's not talking about stack. He's talking about like
yeah,
the fact that the Jaguars have all these weapons that are being drafted high, yet
Yeah.
the quarterback is being drafted late. Like he's basically saying if you got a lot of receiver or top fantasy options, then as a quarterback, you should also be a top fantasy consideration.
Yeah. I think something that you have to consider with that though is there's he has where the receiving options are going. It's one thing if you have a receiver that's going in the first round, a receiver that's going in the third round, a pass catching running back that's going in the third round. It's another thing if your first wide receiver is going in the sixth round, and really he's been going in the seventh round for the most part.
but
Uh,
that's only because of the sheer number.
yeah, but I mean, but like so to me, like his wide receivers aren't going that high. I mean, they're going in the sixth round and the seventh round. That's it.
Because
Uh,
there's three of them. That's why. It's
but
not
but
because we think.
But it doesn't. But you're not. People aren't like investing a lot in their receivers. Thinking that to me tells me everything. If the draft board and the market is investing a lot in the receiver, to me, a round one draft capital is significantly more than a round six draft capital. So it
Mhm.
makes sense that Burrow goes ahead of Trevor Lawrence, using your argument, because Chase goes in round one and T. Higgins goes in round three,
No,
and then Chase Brown, who catches passes, then goes in round two. So if you compare where Joe Burrow went and then where Trevor Lawrence went, they only went about 2 rounds apart.
well, I mean,
So
I
to me,
think
that's two very different things. Like you have,
Really, what would support Chris's argument more if he's referring to somebody like a Dak, who
yeah,
probably was drafted a lot higher in the draft than he usually is drafted. But he's typically one of the later quarterbacks drafted, and you have a weapon in CeeDee Lamb who's in the 1-2 turn. You have Pickens who's in the 2-3 turn. Yet we're still taking Dak pretty late in draft. So,
yeah,
but with all that being said, Dak doesn't run. Well, he doesn't run as much as he used to, I guess. So
y'all are not
yeah.
going to like this,
He doesn't. He
but
doesn't. He doesn't run a lot at all.
yeah,
Drake May and Trevor Lawrence are the same people. They're the same quarterback. They're the exact same quarterback.
Yeah. So and that's. I mean, and I think that's a fair argument to say that you know what, like
yeah, I
why
can
am I
see that
spending?
argument.
Yeah, why am I spending a high draft capital on Drake Bay when I can get Trevor Lawrence, or I can get a number of these quarterbacks. I feel like you can talk up a lot of these quarterbacks. That's why I don't really, I mean, to me, I don't really get into this guy is significantly better than this guy. It's more to me just like, okay, this is the guy that falls. So in this draft, that's who I got, you know.
That is the highest I've ever seen Marshawn Lloyd go right there. And I think that's Sopranos again.
That's Sopranos, yeah. That's
Sopranos on a mission. But that's the highest I've ever seen Marshawn Lloyd go. Like, real talk.
That's actually my highest owned running back.
Yeah, he's one of my highest owned guys too.
Yeah, that's my highest owned running back. And that, again, you know, keep leaning on it. Maybe this is to get people to draft a little bit earlier, because I would love more people in these streets drafting early to diversify the field. But I mean, Marshawn Lloyd was free. And I was just, sometimes you just draft some guy, you draft guys so much. It's like Chris Olave last year. You drafting guys so much and you're like, am I wrong? Like, why is people,
it ain't even just that he was free though. It ain't even just that he was free. The fact that, you know, Josh Jacobs, legal trouble, right? You know what I'm saying? Older running back. So it's like, you know, we're always trying to figure out who is the handcuff there, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because I was in a slow draft when the news dropped as far as the legal issue. And like I was one pick away. And you know how slow drafts are. You know, slow draft people sit on the clock. That news dropped, boom, email. Such and such team picked Chris Brooks.
Yeah.
I'm like,
There's no legal trouble with Josh Jacobs, by the way.
I'm just saying when the news dropped, they picked Griffin, and I was the next up. I was like, okay, well, let me take Marshawn Lloyd, because I feel like at that time we didn't know who the handcuff was. But what I'm basically saying is we should have been taking a lot of stabs at that backfield, because one of those guys, and obviously people are set on Marshawn Lloyd, but that was a value right there. So like Abby was saying, he's going like in the 14th round back then.
So I'm gonna grab my guy here because I'm just, you know, this is who fell. Could have taken a little bit of risk and just kind of waited as, you know, another one or two that I feel very comfortable with as well. But I like getting the end of that tier and the end of that run. We'll see kind of what we do around the corner here.
But yeah, going back to Josh Jacobs, because there's a comment about it. Like, there's no legal case. They didn't file charges. Assault cases don't get better with time. Like, I don't think that there is any legal case.
You got to remind people you're a lawyer, Chris. Like, you got to remind people what you know.
Yeah.
What you do for a living.
But again, and then going back to a conversation we had last year, and you were right about this, Dial, like when we were talking about like cases like where like guys were not convicted and stuff like that. Like we kind of hashed out and kind of went through. Like, I don't think that there's going to be a suspension. He wasn't even charged with it. So
yeah,
I never thought that there was any fear with Jacobs. But Justin Herbert, a lot of, you know, like mixed videos coming out. Obviously, him and his now wife, like they got married, right? So him and his now wife,
fiance, something to that nature.
With that crazy video on the field.
Yeah.
But I mean,
no, but going back to Jacobs, though, I don't think the problem with Jacobs was, well, for me, I don't think you should be looking at Jacobs like maybe he might be suspended. I think you should be looking at Jacobs like he's an older running back who had a lot of wear and tear last year. And he's, you know, somebody is one injury away, and somebody that has the skill set of somebody like Marshawn Lloyd. Yeah. Not only is somebody like if he gets a job, he's going to have great value, but he also is the type of skill set where he can actually produce a lot of fantasy points if he got that opportunity. So, again, I just think he was going way too late for a while. Now, I don't know if I agree with round 10, but maybe that is the right place to take him. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people I feel like were leaning on the idea of Brooks as the handcuff. And then, like, if you just go to YouTube and just watch videos of Brooks, not like he's a bad player, but you just realize that, like, he's kind of more of a glorified fullback and a blocker. And he'll kind of get touches here or there. And so it made it kind of real easy. And it's just one of those situations where, like, he's going late. We know he's got the injury history. That's why he's going late. People don't like him. And then, you know, so you take him. So now it's, you know, pretty much just on to the next next running back that's going late. And, you know, as these handcuffs are rising up the board, I'm just looking for other options outside of that. So.
All right, so you on the clock?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
So this is a guy I haven't really drafted much of. I feel like I find myself in spots where there's always a guy here that I'm like, it's easy pickings. But think where we are going to go with this. Just make sure to take our little time with it.
Come on, man. Like I mean, what's up with the suspense?
Hey, take your time. What's the rush? So I don't want to say names because at this stage, I'll scroll all the way down the board. All right, so we're gonna go with the cokehead, Jalen Coker.
The cokehead? What is that?
I don't know
The
with the
cokehead, golly, come
Coker,
on, man.
yeah, the
You're gonna have a
Coker
cease
fans
and
call him-
desist letter at
Is
our
that what they call
mailbox, man.
We gotta come up with a better.
No, they don't call him the cokehead. I think the
fans, they call them cokeheads.
The cokeheads, yeah.
No, like we gotta come up with a better name than that.
Yeah. No, this is we kind of were joking about the next JSN, and I kind of piggyback with, for me, I'm kind of wanting to assess who the next Michael Wilson is. And it's not necessarily like I'm okay, which of these players is gonna turn into Michael Wilson. No, that's not it. It's more so evaluating why did Michael Wilson break out? Like what led him to dominating the, and being a top wide receiver down the stretch. And obviously a number of different things have to happen. Things have to fall into place, but I want to know what those things are. And one of the big things is, a guy gets injured. And so, the funny thing is I don't do a lot of best ball. I think I have like two or three FFPC best ball teams last year. And I think I won 2 leagues. One of the leagues where I won, I drafted Michael Wilson. And I look back and I like if you had asked me if I had any shares of like actual draft Michael Wilson, not waiver wire, but draft, I would have told you no. But it's just that kind of mindset of, okay, I at least thought something of this guy that maybe he can do something if something were to break right or if something were to happen or a player were to get injured. And so that's I think Jalen Coker is the wide receiver 2 there, and if something were to happen with Tet or in maybe certain matchups, we could find a situation where he's leading that team in receivers. There's also a team where Adam Thielen balled out with the same offensive coordinator under the same quarterback for a brief moment in time. And that's because Adam Thielen was running a lot through the slot. And to me, Jalen Coker is more of a slot type of guy. They have issues on the O-line too as well. So he may be that quick outlet. So there's an outside chance that Jalen Coker could definitely give us some valuable weeks. And I'm not talking about just like usable weeks. I mean, talking about valuable weeks. And that's really all I care about when I'm drafting at this stage. Long-winded answer for Jalen Coker.
Because I left, got something to drink, came back, and we're still talking about the cokehead.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on stacking? Unless I have a scrambling quarterback, drafting a naked pocket passer feels wrong to me. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think, like with most things in life, ask yourself, what is the end goal? The end goal is to score the most points. And if you ever play DFS and you look at the actual optimal lineup, it doesn't always correlate with stacks. Stacks is an easy way for us, the general public, to get there without having to be perfect, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect. And so I have zero issues with like just taking the best quarterback on the board. If it works out and like got 3 guys in the same tier, and then I have a wide receiver on that team or 2 wide receivers on that team that's a receiving option for that quarterback, then yeah, I'll lean that way. To me, it makes more sense in best ball because it's not even just the stacking; it's more the correlation play. You want all those guys in the same game of a game they could like put up 75, 80 plus points, right? But in a redraft league over a 3-week stretch, just give me the guys that are going to score the most points. I'm not going to reach on a guy and pass on certain guys who may end up breaking out. It's not going to be a lot, but they're going to be a handful of guys, wide receivers, running backs, who go in these mid to late rounds between like rounds 8 and 13 that are going to break out. And if I'm like just bypassing guys because I'm trying to get a quarterback, to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. It's just not something that I push for. I feel like you can build an optimal lineup. And if you look at the teams at the end of the year, optimal lineup week to week to week, it doesn't always correlate with the top scoring wide receiver is also being thrown the ball by the top scoring quarterback.
Yeah, Team 7, that's Fantasy Sopranos. Jimmy is talking about that running back run that they're on.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Keaton Mitchell, and I'll get to Jackie Down, but I don't mind him. But I feel like if Omari and Hampton were to go down, Vidal is going to take over quite a bit. I feel like Keaton Mitchell
I agree
has
with
a
that.
defined role, and guys like that, I just I'm putting myself in a position where I got to guess when to start them. I'd rather if I'm going to do
Better,
that, the guy's going to get touches, hopefully.
he's
And
a
then
better best ball pick.
yeah. And then J.K. Dobbins, I would have actually gone J.K. Dobbins over Ja'Cory. I just wanted to switch it up a little bit.
I think you should have, and I think you would have got both of them. I really do.
I do a lot of J.K., but my issue with Denver is they just use a lot of running backs, and I feel like they are going to use a lot of running backs. I think they want to keep J.K. healthy for the playoffs.
I don't know if I agree with that, man.
They've been talking up Harvey in the passing game. I think that's going to continue to be his role in the passing game. And so JK is just going to have to be very efficient. And I think he can. But I don't know. I felt like Ja'Cory, to me, Ja'Cory is fighting against Rachaad White on his deal and Katron Allen, who's like a 5th or 6th round pick. And then the guy who came over from the Cleveland Browns. So I'm looking around that room and I'm like,
who came over from the Browns? Dearness Johnson?
Say what?
Who came over?
He was the 2nd or 3rd. He was in the mix last year for him. I can't recall his name. Unless they cut him recently. I doubt they cut him recently, but it's a guy who came over for the Browns. But like, there's not a lot of competition in that in the Commanders room. So to me, I'm like, okay, let me just go with this ambiguous backfield formation because to me that has the most upside. I like JK. You could definitely argue maybe 6 drafts out of 10, I would have probably gone JK. But this I don't know. For me, for this type of team where I have Quinshawn and Derrick Henry, I just wanted to take a little bit more of a swing upside in my running back room.
By the way, going back to two things. Going back to that Coker pick, like I actually think Jimmy Horn Jr. is a better receiver than Coker. I've seen some clips this camp. I
You're
really
crazy,
like
man.
him.
Stop it.
Listen, now granted, I
who
watched
doesn't
the
agree
last.
with you? The team.
I don't know. I mean, like
they don't agree with you. He didn't get any playing time last year at all, even with the Coker injury. Even with all the injuries they had, he didn't get any playing time.
He was a rookie. Like they got to ease him in. But like I disagree. Like I think Jimmy Horn Jr. is going.
And don't forget, they just paid Coker. Like they just gave Coker a new contract.
They gave him money.
He's a rookie. He just finished.
Yeah, they just paid him.
They don't have to pay a guy who's a rookie. No,
I'm saying we're saying they paid Coker. They just paid Jalen Coker. They just gave him.
I got you, but I think Jimmy Horn Jr. is having a great camp, and I think it's someone that you should consider giving it all. Thing number 2, we were talking about that Kentucky draft last year, about going to Kentucky and being a part of that draft. I kind of hate that we didn't sign up to that because I haven't been back to Kentucky in a long time. Haven't lived there for 3 years for law school. Has a soft space in my heart. So I was trying to talk y'all into it for that reason. But I know some guys from the chat are going down to the tournament there. So I hate that we missed that. Who are you thinking about coming up? Oh, Gaston just went too.
Got a number.
Terrence Ferguson is a tight end I keep looking at. Every time he's drafted, every time Terrence Ferguson is drafted, I kind of wonder, like, what is their pick? Because I can see a situation where Terrence Ferguson is like a 3-4 tight end committee,
Yeah. I think the bet with Terrence Ferguson is that Devontae Adams gets hurt this year. He's in his 2nd year, and he's not just playing the tight end role. He's playing some type of receiving weapon role as a second option. Because, they got a lot of tight ends, but he doesn't really play like the traditional tight end role. And they play a lot of tight ends at once. But that I think that's the bet potentially with him. And I get it because I take that bet too. I usually wait a little bit longer. But, for some of these guys, they're just getting in the draft now. They just want to get their guys. So,
I just looked. I have a 19th round Ferguson. Getting him this early just feels
You're not going to get him in the 19th round anymore, though.
No. I got you. And for me, he was a first look guy. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what? In the 19th round, why not take a
I
stab?
mean, how many snaps is he gonna get though? Like Parkinson is still there. They just drafted Claire at the second round pick. Like we can ignore Higbee, but like, is he gonna be an every down player? Is that what people are betting on, or
So
is he gonna
what?
have a role?
No, I
Is he
don't think.
gonna be? Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think people are saying he is taking Kobe Parkinson's role. I think Kobe Parkinson is Kobe Parkinson. I think they're saying that they are going to build him a role where he will be on the field with Kobe Parkinson, but he will be an actual
Okay.
receiving option in the event. Like I think right now, the way things are without any injury, it's going to be hard to trust him to start week to week, right? But in the event of an injury with some of these older guys, Puka, does Puka things. Adams is, getting older. He may be that potential best bet. So just kind of depends, I guess. Yeah.
So, question just came in. Um, Abib, how important is it to maintain the most fab in FFPC so you can snag a big drop by another owner or get that stud waiver guy late? Like, how do you guys sort of manage your fab throughout the season?
We are very, very different. Deo is like,
Yeah.
yeah, talk to Deo about the fab. Me, like, if I like a guy, I'm going to go get him, and I'm getting them across the board, and
No,
I'll just make do. Deo's very, I think, a little bit more judicious.
And
I mean,
strategic.
can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? I don't know
Yeah.
if my internet is going out.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I know the right way is in the early part of the season, spend as much as your fab, right? Like go get your guy.
Yeah.
I know that's the best way to play it, but I don't do that. Like for some reason, I think I'm going high, but my high is not as high as the people in my league. So I end up not spending as much fab as
Yeah.
I end up not spending as much fab as I probably end up minimum. I don't like minimum wage. Like I don't do dollar bets. Like my
Yeah.
minimum is like $5, right?
Yeah.
And I try to spend. Also think at the end of the year you can kind of be strategic the way you kind of put your team together, specifically picking up defenses
Yeah.
and kickers and all that stuff. And I'll pay money for those type of things. So dosage, huh?
Yeah. I think I'm probably higher on him than literally anybody else. I just think that, again, I'm looking at tight ends that could lead their team in targets. Dosage reminds me a lot of Logan Thomas. Different career arcs and whatnot, but just the idea, just like everybody's like, nah, I think I'll pass, or maybe I'll wait, maybe I'll grab some shares here or there. But again, people don't think much of the Miami offense. People aren't believers, but this is where you can kind of, grab value. And at this later round, before I start trying to hoard handcuffs, praying for injuries, taking up roster spots, not knowing who's going to get injured or when they're going to get injured, I'd rather get these guys that might do something, like that might show out. And then if they don't, I can easily drop them and then add the next guy, and then add the next guy. And so I don't know. I'm prioritizing usable players.
How many running backs do you have right now?
Say what?
How many running backs do you have right now?
3.
Three?
Do I need? I don't need more than 3. I just need to be able to start 2.
Yeah, you good? You good with 3, man? Championship.
How we doing with how we feeling with Tyler Algier? Do we just feel like that's a muddy situation? Do we feel like just okay, this is the guy that could provide some usable weeks here and there? What are we feeling from that standpoint?
I mean, something's got to give. Like somebody has to go, and we know it's not going to be the first round running back. It's not going to be Algier when they had promised him the starting job. So I think we talked about this before. Connor has to go at some point. So maybe if it's, how do you feel about it being just Love and Tyler Algier? I think we can see him being goal line back.
I think he's gonna have a role. I think he's gonna have a role, and obviously he's also has the contingency value. If Love goes down, I think he's gonna be a great option. So I think in this part of the draft, he's the type of player that teams should be drafting, right? Because you can see that path real easy. You don't have to make up this crazy scenario. It's
Yeah.
literally one thing can happen. So anything can be said about Brunson. I don't think about that pick either.
What'd you say?
Anything can be said about Brian Robinson, so I don't have a problem with that pick either.
Yeah, and that's kind of why. Yeah, I went that route. Just I feel like it's a little bit, yes, Algier will probably get more touches, assuming no injury, but I think that Brian Robinson's still going to get some touches. And again, I'm not hoping or planning on using him unless an injury happens. But I think because Tyler Algier is just such a almost a zero in the passing game. When I'm looking at the handcuffs, if I am going to take one, I really want to prioritize, okay, let me grab a handcuff that is, if something happens, is going to get goal line work, number one, get the majority of the touches, carries, but they can also get some receptions in the pass game. And I think, assuming that it's Tua starting the year, I don't think it matters what running back is back there. He's going to favor his running backs in the passing game to some degree. So I see Brian Robinson a lot, in the same light as Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby's been getting a lot more love, but they typically
Nah, man, come on, man.
They're the same player. They're the same player.
No.
Not talent wise. I'm saying they're both handcuffs in situations where they would become the lead back should things occur. So them going to
I got you.
Yeah.
But Abby, I would still have Algier over Brian Robinson because here's the biggest difference. Right now, the Cardinals are saying, or they're acting like Algier is a starting running back, even though we know Love will probably take that job and probably pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But they're acting as if Algier is running back one and Love is trying to earn his spot. While in Atlanta, Bijan is the main guy there. Brian Robinson isn't being even considered as running back one. So that's the biggest difference for me. And we've seen it, like teams can start off the first 6 games playing the veteran until they finally give that rookie that opportunity. So
I don't know, I'm not buying it. I'm buying that he's going to get some touches and some carries, but how many actual goal line carries, how long is Connor going to be there? It's not a nasty situation or not a good situation that I really want to invest in a guy that does not catch passes. That's just me personally.
Yeah. Fantasy Sopranos takes the Rams defense, completely disrespecting our Texans defense, which have really been jumped in ADP. So how do you feel about drafting a defense this early? Also, Aubrey is off the board as well. I kind of get that though.
So the Texans defense, again, I know Dale's not a fan of looking ahead, but I'm still going to look ahead. They play some tough teams week 15, 16, 17 from a standpoint of offenses. They can still ball out, but I don't think, it's not a situation where you're getting the Texas defense against the Jets. You're getting the Texas defense against whatever team is turnover prone. They're playing the Eagles, who can just line up and run and play turnover free football. They're playing the Jags, who has Liam Cohen. We played them.
Now Abby, hold on, slow down. What? I don't say that about fantasy value looking ahead when it comes to defenses.
Okay,
I'm not talking about because we know the starting offense for the Eagles are going to be the Barkleys, the Hurts, unless there's an injury. What I'm saying is we don't know which defenses are going to be great. We can have a team we think is going to be a great defense, and then they're trash, and vice versa. We have a team that we assume is trash and be one of the greater defenses. So
gotcha. Yeah, this year I'm not a fan of taking defenses early because I look at the schedule, I look at who they're going to play. Even the Rams, I think the Rams, obviously they could, really blow up, but I don't know. I'm not 100% necessarily sold that they are going to be so far and above the field that they're worth me taking in the 11th round, because I have guys that I know people don't like, but guys that I have that I feel could actually do something this year. And I usually like to wait if there are players available. Same thing with kicker this year. I'm typically just waiting on kicker this year. So this will probably be a streaming year for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Linda who gives us
Yeah.
some kicker advice.
But who was
So
the like the winning defense last year? Like it was, I know it was a streamer defense. It was like the Raiders, I believe, or it was some team like the Raiders. So
I don't think it was the Raiders.
no, there was some team like there was a streamer defense that put up like 15 to 20 points last year that I think really pushed some teams over the edge and were part of the optimal lineup.
You talking about in the championship, or what are you talking about, like the
I'm talking like
DraftKings
in
Willie
weeks
Maker or
15,
something?
weeks. I think it was like week 17, but week 16, 15, 17.
I think I vividly remember 15. Seattle was the team where they played like Seattle played some team that had a backup quarterback, and they went like they killed them. They scored like 20 plus fantasy points. It was week 15, I believe, because I believe.
No, like I'm looking now, it's not Seattle.
Seattle's a great example. So number one, nobody was like, we knew Seattle had a defensive head coach, but nobody was like, oh, the Seattle defense is the defense that you got to own. They weren't going high in drafts. You waited on those. Okay. So if you want to look at the example of Seattle, maybe look at, teams that have acquired defensive coordinators at head coaches. Maybe this is year that Baltimore figures it out with Jesse Minter. He did some great things with the Chargers. So I would take it more that approach as far as trying to find the next best defense. But I mean, I'm not going to knock anybody for taking the Rams defense or the Texans defense, because those two defenses have just some elite level talent. And so there may be times I almost feel like the Texans defense from like a fantasy standpoint underperformed when compared to how they played in a real life standpoint. Like I almost feel like them real life was better than what we saw on a fantasy, from a fantasy standpoint. So,
Well, that's primarily because FFPC doesn't value low scoring games. They value turnovers and sacks. So, like the fact that or at least in previous years, I think they might have changed the
yeah,
rules on that too last
No,
year.
they changed it last year. They changed the
yeah.
rule last. They changed the scoring. Yeah.
Right, right.
So this is actually, I'll wait till we get to this player here. I
Yeah.
can almost tell you.
Jacksonville, like weeks 13, 14, like they had 15 points week 13, 15 points week 14, and then 10 points week 16. Yeah, 15 points week 15. I mean, that's kind of a nice run, man.
I just saw Boston Scott go. I think that might have been that reminds me of my
Oh yeah.
my Ricky Person pick. They're actually scrolling back. So it looks like
Oh yes, they
they've
did
adjusted that rule. P.S. That Ricky Person team made it to the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and cashed in that league. So this, even with that, not having I think it was a 5th round pick, still made it through. Denzel Boston, or maybe I think as we roll back, I think players got put in incorrectly.
Chris, I'm looking at it right now. Last year, Seattle week 20, they scored 22 points. And then week
Yeah, but that wouldn't have
22,
been
so
in
week 20
fantasy
again.
football.
Oh, that was the playoffs. Sorry. No, here is the Minnesota game, week 13. They scored 32 points. That's what it was.
That's
And
what
then
it
the
was.
next week they played Atlanta and they scored 20 points. But that
Yeah,
32 points like put like teams over the,
Yeah.
they
And
put
where
them
was
over the
Seattle?
edge.
And where was Seattle drafted last year? Were they
They
even
might not
drafted?
have even been drafted,
Exactly. So I was telling him, I was like, maybe what to learn from Seattle was like Seattle was taken over by a defensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator became a head coach. And so maybe we look at other teams around the league, like the Baltimore Ravens, maybe they're a team that like makes this defensive turnaround that we didn't see.
That's still dangerous though.
But look,
that's still dangerous. You said what? Aaron Glenn Jets, you know what I'm saying? And you start talking about the Aaron Glenn Jets. You start targeting the Jets last year.
Yeah. I'm just saying that those would be like defenses to sort of kind of keep in mind if you're looking at saying who's the Seattle defense. So my guy Jalen Naylor went here.
Yep, same guy who took Denzel Boston. Future star Denzel Boston.
Yeah, I'm not gonna knock you with that pick. I do got a question
He
for you
took
guys.
he took Chris's Eagles wide receiver 1-2. He took Makai Lemon.
What do you what do you guys think about Jalen McMillan here?
I can see it. I mean, like he's injured now. Like
Yeah. So what have we heard? We just basically out indefinitely.
yeah. I mean, I don't like that. I mean,
You're
I'm gonna use
not like-
Io's rule,
yeah.
right? Like I'm
That's
not gonna.
Yeah, that's honestly why I moved up Godwin and Egbuka, and I was considering drafting those guys where we were. Was partially because of that that news, but obviously, without McMillan, I do think he's better than like Tez and then Hurst as far as like offering or being like a true like constant target competition or drawing away some targets from those guys. So. I think
he was out at practice today, though. He was out of practice, so I mean, I don't know what that means, but he didn't practice. He was just out there, kind of the same way Jalen Water was out of practice today.
Okay, that's good. We also have my Houston defense coming up here. Our Houston defense.
Yeah.
You don't seem that high.
I think. Well, never mind. I was gonna say. Well, I don't want to top the board, so let me wait.
Yeah. I'm actually glad he got taken. Damn
it, they took AJ Brown.
So this is actually a run out. So this means I don't have to dedicate. I can go a lot of different ways with this pick here.
Real G's move in silence.
I think Seattle and Denver defense is still respectable as far as options.
Agreed. But I think I'm gonna prioritize something a little bit different here.
Y'all completely missed that gem, by the way, but it's all right.
I'm Egbuka, Silent G.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I was OTC though, so I couldn't.
But no, Ray Davis.
Yeah, to me, Ray Davis is a handcuff.
I see y'all still drafting cornerbacks, but all right. Okay.
So I felt like I was in a really good position here. I think I wanted to get a second quarterback added to my team, and seeing that two teams behind me already had two quarterbacks. There's a lot of good quarterbacks on the board. Normally, guys like Goff are not, available, and so.
Abby.
Yeah.
Did you do the research on the Bills running back too? Like, have you seen Ray Davis running as a second team running back, or you just?
To me, Ty Johnson is like a third down hurry back, and I have heard.
Saying okay.
Yeah. I think to me, Ray Davis is a RB2. At least that's what I'm going based off of what I've seen from players that are on their squad, what I've seen from them in the NFL, what I believe talent.
But I'm talking practice reports. Have we looked into practice reports at all? Like what's actually being played out?
No. The only things that I've heard of Ray Davis is that he kind of he's been talking a lot about, really, really wanting to get more work. And then I've heard some reports, somewhat mentioning the idea of potentially Ty Johnson being a roster bubble. This is all like just random speculation.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, this is tough. This is tough. I think. So I have the option of doubling up on my quarterback here, or we have the option of going Jalen McMillan. What are y'all thinking?
Double up on quarterback. Don't take McMillan.
You don't think so?
No. Best ball. I wouldn't draft him in a redraft.
Yeah, what you say?
Which quarterback would you consider?
Either Goff or Mayfield.
Oh. You said Goff or Mayfield?
Yeah.
Mayfield. Mayfield.
You gotta take Baker.
Yeah, Mayfield.
Mayfield?
Yeah, you got to take Baker.
Goff could lead to the league in scoring this year. They're playing a lot of domes.
But he won't. He won't.
Okay, that's what? McMillan's got some bad news out right now. Let's see how far he falls. His knee could be just done. Like a report can come out tomorrow stating that he needs surgery.
He missed a lot of time last year, didn't he?
He had a neck injury last year, so completely different thing. So don't double count. That's what we do with injuries. We just say, oh, he missed time. That was a completely different thing that he completely healed from. So this is something completely new. So we gotta, really, we just have no clue what's going on with the knee.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like during the preseason too when that happened?
The neck injury?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or was it
preseason
practice
or
or
like
something? Or maybe it was early.
Yeah, I think maybe it was like training camp or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make millions. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the reason I said Mayfield was simply the fact that you have Godwin, right? Or do you not have Godwin?
No, I don't
Did I
think
just
so.
make that up in my head?
No.
I can't see the board, so
Yeah, no, like he doesn't have that one.
okay. So you're not stacking Baker with anybody.
No, and I'm not
No.
playing. I just want the guy who's going to score the
Oh,
most points.
then I messed you over, man. I would have said Goff. My bad.
See, I rolled his back.
I would say Goff. Sorry. For some reason, I believe you had Godwin on your team, so I was like, man, you got to take Baker with Godwin because But
yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
Anybody watching the preseason today?
Man, bro, I watched the first drive. I was like, man, football's back. Yeah. And I was like, man, this is boring as hell, man. Like, what am I doing?
That score looked good. I mean, like it looked like it was a good game.
Beck apparently Beck didn't look all that bad, right? Beck looked pretty decent.
I mean
the stats. So.
I think he started 6 for 7, and then like he threw a pass to the 1 yard line, and then Kaiser scored from the goal line or whatever.
Yeah,
he looked good.
Yeah. 15 for 19, 188, a touchdown. That's not bad. Actually, pretty good.
Oh, you got one in there?
Yeah.
Are we talking about quarterback controversy?
Not yet.
At some point, they're going to want to see him. See him
what
he
can do.
Yeah, they want to see what he wants to do. So
yeah, and they're not expected to win many games, so it might be sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Before he started, I don't know. I gotta watch. But yeah,
so Abby, can you give me the count of your team right now, the position count? Or maybe Chris, can you scroll up?
Yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs. We got 3 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks. Somewhat a fairly
like a
decent
best ball
build.
team.
Yeah, fairly balanced build. Proud of myself. Normally this does not happen. So okay. Now see if I can capitalize on getting some of my guys this last. This might be a team where I go 3 quarterbacks. Just to spite, just to knock some teams out. Somebody
Don't
gets
do
injured.
that, man. Don't do that.
Well, I'm saying, like, look, if the guys in my queue go, then yeah, that will be the move. I'm not above it.
Like Team 4 just has Matthew Stafford, who, let's not forget that he had back injuries last year.
Right.
Or, he went into the season with back injuries.
Daniel Jones went. Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I think people sleeping on Daniel Jones, man. He was like a very good fantasy quarterback in the beginning of last year. The derailed him was the injury. That's the only thing.
Agreed. I have not seen him go. Or I guess all the reports of him being healthy and being mobile now make a little bit of sense. One guy I really want to lock in here. What's going on with the KC handcuff situation? Any news? Still looking a bit murky out there, huh?
Still murky. I mean,
yeah.
Isaac Tesla drafted.
I think I saw. You're talking about the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, correct.
Abby, you were talking about the Chiefs?
Yeah. Yeah, chief running back situation.
I think I saw a report where DeMarcado was the second running back in
Yeah, I
there,
saw.
and he
Yeah,
got
yeah, I
praised
think,
by his
yeah,
coach.
yeah. That is correct.
Dang, Daniel Jones is
So,
actually team 12's QB1. He's going to all in on Daniel Jones.
oh wow,
Say it again.
That's his QB1. Daniel Jones is his QB1. He waited to round 15.
That's interesting.
that's crazy.
What's the? I mean, talking about pushing it. That's pushing it.
Yeah.
That is pushing
Chris, can you
it.
show me his?
What's up? You show you his team?
Can you show me his team? Can you scroll up and show me his team? Yes.
That was a team that you initially spoke highly of because he had some value that fell to him.
Oh, that was the team that was getting all that value, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
Okay.
continued to get value. He continued to get value. I mean, Bucky, 5, the 601. I guess he came a little bit up on Reed, and then depending on how you feel about Chuba, Wandell. Okay, I'm on the clock.
You
Okay,
know what
good.
though? He was stacking Tyler Warren with Daniel Jones.
I get to get my guy. I probably should have gone some another player who's likely going to go here pretty soon, but I want to make sure I get my guy.
You really high on Zachariah Branch, man.
Yeah, you're
Man,
super high.
I don't know. I just watch his film and his tape, and I'm just like, there are a few players I watch, and I'm just like, man, that guy looks different, and he just looks different.
I hear
And
you.
yes, Pitts got paid, and I'm sure they're going to try to get him the ball, but I don't watch Pitts and think, okay, this is a guy that we got to get the ball because he's going to make our offense significantly better. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Even like when he blew up last year, I thought a lot of it was kind of fugazi. I felt like a lot of it was, I don't know, just, but yeah, I don't know. And the crazy thing about it too is like, at first I thought it was just sort of kind of just me being biased. Okay, I'm in on this guy, and like all of my entire Twitter feed is just random Zachariah Branch training camp clips coming up. But no, like he is having a lot of clips, and then you should go back and look what Bijan said about him. Go back and look what London said about him. Go back and look what Tua said about him, and the players that they're comparing him to. I mean, when like superstar players like come out and say this guy's going to be a star, to me that like means something. Like that's like when you like a really good player and you kind of deem another player a potentially up and coming player, that means something. And sometimes people just talk people up and say, oh yeah, he's going to be a really good player. But the way they had been talking about him, the drum beat, and just that like married with like what I see on film, love that. I love him. He's my Harold Fannin. I can't give you a great excuse why to draft him in drafts, and I hope you don't have a great excuse. I don't want you to draft him in drafts, but every single draft, you're just gonna see me take him, and people are not gonna think much of it, and then boom, it's just gonna hit, or it may not, obviously. But yeah, that's he's kind of like my Harold Fannin. So Mike Washington was the guy that was really at the top of the queue. So I could triple up on quarterback here. I could triple up.
With who?
Tyler Shaw.
I don't understand why though.
I don't understand why he's not with Tyler. Shut.
Just because of his week 15,
I mean, I guess it's
16.
good value. He could be something, but
Yeah, he plays
so you plan
Tampa
on holding him
Bay.
all season?
He plays Tampa Bay, Arizona, and Atlanta. Am I playing him all season? Let's see.
I mean, you plan on holding him all season, like holding him as just for the playoffs, or do you think maybe there's a chance one of your, Mayfield or Herbert, end up not being good enough to keep around?
Nah, I wasn't gonna take him, but I wanted to have a discussion.
It's crazy. I forgot all about McMillan. All this time.
Yeah, we'll take him. I mean, I'm getting him in the 17th round. If he has a season injury, it comes out he's got to have surgery tomorrow. I'm not gonna feel hard pressed or brokenhearted about any of this.
That's an easy drop. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of worked out well for me. I think yeah, I don't mind it. I do at some point need to start kind of switching up some of my handcuffs. Maybe I may have to reach a little bit here or there for like a Bigsby and someone like that. But Marshawn Lloyd and Jaden Blue got ton of before this team, so I'm fine. Like really not necessarily reaching for them anymore. But because some of these other handcuffs go a little bit higher than I normally would like to, I may have to just reach a little bit occasionally on a Tank Bigsby or someone like that. Because you never know.
Jaden Blue is already off the board?
Yeah, Jaden Blue went off the board 12th round.
Golly, I missed that. Jaden Blue used to be like 18th, 19th round pick.
Yeah, man.
Those were going to pick him in the 12th round, and then
those were the good old days.
Yeah, then somebody like what's his name? Who's technically third string? What's his name? Dial's guy. Who I call fat, the fat running back. Cowboys third string running back who was out all last season. We were waiting on him to come back in. Phil Maffa. There you go.
Phil Maffa was getting a little bit of love too. We talk about Jaden Blue. Like the idea behind Jaden Blue is essentially that if Javonte Williams does go down, Jaden Blue never has had a full workload. He's never been a workhorse back. I like him because of if Javonte Williams goes down, he can be a serviceable RB2, and then in the right game script, he may get like 6-7 catches, and he has the potential to take it to the house. But I don't see him as like, okay, he's going to be the workhorse if Javonte goes down, but he has a lot of juice. I do feel like they want to get him involved in the passing game and in the screen game. And he may be like a little bit of like a potential PPR guy that you can slip in if you need to. So I think some of these guys, they were thinking, okay, like a Kyle Monunga, I just, there's no way I'm spending an 8th round pick on Kyle Monunga. Like never, ever. I can't. He's a handcuff. Otherwise, you're guessing what week to play him. It's not like you get a lot in the passing game, right? So why would I draft a Kyle Monunga where you can draft Tyler Algier so much later? And then likely Tyler Algier may actually get almost all the goal line carries and get a lot more touches. Both, like neither of them are really catching that many passes. Or some of these other guys. I mean, I know he's in a better offense, but 8th round is like, man, that's expensive. That is expensive for an RB2 on a team.
Yeah. I mean, let's go back.
Maybe they're betting that they could. Maybe they're betting that he could just take the job.
Yeah, I doubt that, but I'm gonna just say that that's a wrong bet.
Yeah,
anything could happen, but I'm gonna just say that's a wrong bet.
Yeah. This Raiders receivers I like late. Yeah. Those Raiders receivers.
Abby, you only have one skill position left. You know that, right?
I think Keyshawn.
Who's the best quarterback for Brock Bowers to hit? Like, do you see one of those quarterbacks as being the quarterback that needs to be starting for Brock Bowers to hit, or you think Brock Bowers is foolproof?
I think it just depends on what you think of. What's the first round pick's name again? I'm blanking on his name. He's just been out of the news.
Mendoza.
Mendoza. It depends on what you think of Mendoza, really. I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I really have not really watched much film on Mendoza. What I watched, and I think we all watched the national championship game and the college football playoffs. So that's quite a bit of just film there. But I don't know what to expect. I maybe just lean on a head coach who's a offensive genius that can scheme him up, and just lean on the fact that Bowers is a beast. Dale put out a funny question in the group chat: why is Bowers so good? And I challenge anybody to answer that question in one sentence. Like, why is he so good? Like, be specific. Like, why is he so good? And I think he's just like all around, like, maybe it's just, the look of him. He doesn't look like somebody who's explosive, but to me, it's just how he moves, and that like he's a mismatch regardless of if he has a defensive back on him or a linebacker. Like, he can outbody and out leverage the defensive backs, and he can just outrun and create separation with ease against linebackers. So it's almost like you can't put anybody on him. But the question that I have, the reason that I've been like drafting so much Jalen Naylor is because I do think they're going to start off with Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to be in there for a few games. And to me, Kirk Cousins is a guy that like really spams 1 to 2 wide receivers. He's not going to go a lot through. Like he's just going to almost like force it. And so like that, those are the years where Jefferson really went off. We saw Kyle Pitts go off. We saw London also do well when he was healthy. So I think he really just locks in on certain wide receivers. So I think, I'm leaning on Trey Tucker being more of the downfield stretcher. And then Jalen Nailor kind of being the guy that they want to move around a bit and being that first and or second read option. And we're going to know really, really early on. But then when Mendoza does come in, like the one thing that I did see in the college playoffs and the championship games were just those quick outs. And like, it would be like, it almost like he would always hit like these like low back shoulder throws with Rod, just constantly, him and Cooper, and as well as Cooper. So to me, Jalen Nailor is really good at those types of possessions too as well. So I think either or are good for all the receiving options. To me, it's just going to kind of come down to can either Jalen Nailor or Trey Tucker actually take that next step forward? All
right.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the last 3 rounds. Like we're in the last 3 rounds of the draft. Like at this point, because I do have a philosophy on first look, on first look teams. But do you guys ever like think about like first look players once you get to this part of the draft, or do you ever like break ADP like in favor of first look players? Like once you start getting to the back end of the draft.
Hold on 1 second. My screen.
Well, I'll answer for myself. I start thinking about first look from round 1. I think about first look the whole draft.
But do you start prioritizing?
Like I'm dead serious.
Players?
I mean, to some extent, yeah.
So like you would break ADP to take a first look player that you.
Okay. Yes, they're in FFPC where we have 12 weeks to accumulate points to get in the playoffs, right? Those first look players that literally give you the answers before you're even taking the test, and that's the only opportunity that you'll be able to kind of do that in FFPC. Yeah. And if those guys hit,
I think I may
tremendous value.
Commish button.
End up being bust. You still have the opportunity to draft these guys. So I think that ridiculous value there. If you're able to take them near their value, people are further. They're more just taking them because of the tiebreaker option. I think that's an easy option. I think it's a ridiculously easy option, honestly. So I prioritize it personally.
Yeah. Abby?
Sorry, y'all cut out for a lot. I think my internet was cutting out or acting up. Draft pause for me. But I think what was the question? First look players?
Yeah, like first look players. Like when do you start to
do you prioritize?
Or do you prioritize like first look players once you start getting to the back end of the draft? Or like when do you start to like really take a look at first look players?
I would say prioritize, maybe a strong word. I would say strongly consider. And in a queue, those guys rise up the queue. But like rounds 1 through like 12, I'd really not even giving it consideration, to be quite honest. I don't think a lot of people are, or maybe they are, but occasionally you'll look into a draft and you'll see a team that has just all the Thursday players. And this is why I love drafting the Thursday night after the game, because the board just looks wild. And if you're in the right position, you just may just luck into some just really crazy value. We all
because guys are trying to snatch those first look guys.
Yeah. And people just want to get the points, and points are important. Like we all know this. Everybody listening to this, it knows that if you play in FFPC, you can miss out on the playoffs or miss out on the championship by 1 point. So we do want to get those points. But like that's why I was looking at, going through all the flex positions that were available. George Holani, 18th round as the last guy. And to me, this is perfect because I get to drop him and then I can just pick up. I got so many guys that I have like on speed dial that are not being drafted right now that I plan on picking up the first week or the first waiver run after those first look games, right? So, if Holani doesn't hit and it doesn't look like he's really getting much burn, he's an easy drop, and I already got 2 or 3 guys that can fill and take his spot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then here, so I'm looking at kickers. So yes, instead of like going down to maybe a kicker, I'm like, trying to do mental gymnastics and see if he could, finish as one of the top 5 kickers.
Take a first look guy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a first look guy. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a first look guy. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I think people make mistakes because you were talking about how those drafts that occur after those games that go, how people start, drafting guys that ended up being in those first good games. I think that people make a lot of mistakes when they do that because I think that's where a lot of people ended up drafting Hollywood Brown last year. Because remember, Hollywood Brown had that great first game.
It was Isaiah Likely last year. He's right about
no, it wasn't Likely.
Right
no,
I remember Isaiah Likely.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
No, yeah, Likely was a while ago. But last year was Hollywood. Remember we were in Vegas and Xavier Worthy got hurt. And then Hollywood ended up being the guy. Yeah. And now the drafts literally that weekend, Hollywood was going like a top 7, 8 round pick.
Yeah.
And then he didn't really do anything for you the rest of the season. So
yeah.
And remember Worthy was hurt, so I remember people were wondering should we draft Worthy or the Gump for the season. That was a crazy weekend out there in Vegas, man. Good times.
It was. And then we didn't get much out of the Philly and Cowboys game. So then you saw some ADPs kind of decrease, and it was right. I mean, to some degree, it was warranted, but yeah, that was an interesting weekend watching those first games because it's hard when you're on the spot. It's hard to say, okay, hey, this is real and this is what's likely to play out for the rest of the season or at least for the next 4 to 6 weeks versus, okay, this is just like a one-time blip, because you're going to hear from both ends. You're going to hear the people who swear by that, no, this is Isaiah Likely is taking over. This is the Isaiah Likely breakout. He is X, Y, and Z, and they pull up all of his stats and they pull up this and that. And then you're going to have, the people who are like, whether they're right or wrong, who are going to be the exact opposite, like don't fall for this, et cetera, et cetera. And then you got to be the one to like try to decipher all this and hopefully make the right decision.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you got to pick a defense, so you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this team, and maybe I should be looking at other teams. Let's look at other teams first. So I'm gonna go down and see, and y'all can do. You guys can let me know too as well. Listeners,
you're gonna have to scroll up, man. Can't see the board.
Yeah. Who you guys think did a good job as far as building a team, and I would say building a team to me is like, okay, you got some, your team flows very well. Your team is strong. If certain guys don't work out, if your 5th, 6th round guy busts, you got some guys waiting in the wings in the 7th, 8th round. You got some high upside guys. You got, you got depth. Like there's a lot that goes into trying to stay afloat and maximize points over a 12, 13, 14 week time frame. And so having like the first 5, 6 guys look nice because these are the guys that are hyped up in the Twitter streets. But then you look at the rest of the draft and it's kind of shaky. To me, I'd rather just have a more well-balanced team that has pieces and has fighters. So I think there's a couple teams out here that I think, I'm liking their draft. I will, to kind of point one team out from a negative light. Team 6, and I'm ignoring the first 6 picks. And in fact, I'm ignoring the 8 picks, first 9 picks. But I'm looking at his tight end room.
Rich, you're gonna have to scroll. We can't see the rest.
I got you.
Yeah. I'm looking at his tight end room, and his tight end room is Jawan Johnson and Oronde Gadsden. So to me, like you really like need one of these guys to be a significant factor because I think it's extraordinarily hard to win an FFPC without some type of breakout tight end. It's almost impossible. And so one of these guys has to do it. And these are kind of one of the lower end of guys where you really need something to happen. And you're talking to a guy that like, if I feel like there's a path for Oronde Gadsden, like I will find it, but it's a hard path you got to weave. So, I think it's fine to take like these big swings but I think I would have done like a little bit more as far as shoring up the tight end. And I think he kind of just like got boxed out because you saw Terrence Ferguson go in the 12th. Normally doesn't go that early. Then I took Greg Dulcich, and I wasn't even thinking about this team when I took him. And then Schultz went, and that was the first tight end that Team 4 took. So now he's banking on Dalton Schultz and AJ Barner. And then, you had team 5 who was like, well, let me just grab my second tight end after Loveland. And so now he's looking at, okay, I mean, do I just go running back or do I like reach for some of those other tight ends? I would, if it were me, again, he can kind of, he took your guy Eric All at the end. But if it were me, I would have like grabbed a couple of more.
Took Eric All? He took Eric All?
He took Eric
All. Then. Don't even worry about it. Ain't got worry. Hey, good job. Team 7, Team 6. Good job.
There you go. There you go.
Got that right.
There you go. There you go. Never too late. But but so just try to understand. I think where you're deficient, and maybe he can get there with the waiver wire. But the team looks strong, but then you look at the tight end room, and then you go back and look at the history of FFPC winners, and it is just extraordinarily hard to not win with a good tight end room.
You one pick away. There you go.
You're gonna get your defense, man.
Yeah, oh yeah. They've fallen down the board since, so I feel like I'm safe now. I'm safe.
Why San Francisco? Like, what is?
First look, and Deo mentioned this like a couple of years ago when I was just like laughing at a defense that he was mentioning, and I was like, that defense sucks. I was like, why would I want that defense even if it is a first look? And then sure enough, I think they like scored like a significant amount of points. And it's just one of those things, like you don't need much. Like you don't even need the defense to do anything. It could be a punt return. It could be somebody, it could be like a fumble return. Like you don't really need anything. But the real reason why I'm like have like, kind of keyed in on them is because if I get lucky that first week, then I get to start them. But even if I don't get lucky that second week, I don't necessarily have to drop them. Because depending on what Miami looks like and what Arizona looks like, now I got a streamer defense for week 2 and week 3. So either I get to hold them and then maybe I got to, pick up another defense. But, one thing that can really kill your fab is like streaming kickers and defenses throughout the year. So, at least right now, as we sit here, Miami and Arizona are probably some of the more favorable teams if you want to stream defenses against. So we'll see. And again, they're easy drop. And there's, I think, other defenses that I don't mind picking up and taking a chance on late.
You don't even need to drop them. You can just pick up another defense. You can hold on to them.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like. Well, I'm gonna give a little. Let me give a little bit of love to my squad. Okay.
All right.
We gotta give a little bit of love, and then you need to follow it up with the hate, of course.
Right.
So. I always start off, I drafted this team, so I'm very biased. So I'm going to like this team because I drafted them. I picked these teams, and I told myself a story of, how it's going to work. But, I like the balance. Yes, we are a little bit light at running back, but to me, what I tried. Say what?
This dude is in the draft with us.
Yes.
I got that's in the 6 hole. He's in the chat.
You know what? Hey, you know what? Like, I love that because I think like we pride ourselves on like finding every little bit of edge, and like that's what you want to do. Like, oh, somebody's live streaming a draft. Oh, you have the nerve to live stream a draft that I'm in and publicize. Yeah. I'm gonna hop in and listen, and I'm gonna snipe you every chance that I can get, right? Or like when it's advantageous to me. But yeah, I'm happy with the team. I'm a little bit light at running back, but to me, like if my RB3 is where I'm looking to hit, and slightly with QJ. We need a little bit of luck with Marv, and I'm high, somewhat higher on Kincaid than most. This is a team that, for me, like I feel happy about. I like the value that I got on Wilson because I'm kind of iffy on Wilson. I'm not quite sure. So when a guy like that falls way past value and I get to just take him with ease, to me that's an easy situation, and he's like my third wide receiver too as well. So we'll leave it at that.
All right.
Yeah, Chris, what do you think of the draft?
It was all right. I think I hate that Likely pick.
Okay.
Because you know how I just don't see Likely being like the guy that you want him to be. I don't see him finishing top 5 or even top 10 on tight end. Otherwise, I think the team is pretty solid. I'm okay with Quinshawn and Derrick Henry being your 2 running backs. I like I think it's completely overblown with Marvin Harrison and some of the Twitter statements. Like, I think it's a pretty solid team. I think you're probably going to end up starting Dalton Kincaid most weeks, though,
This team is
which
dead.
I'm okay with.
This team is dead. Then, all right. Appreciate you.
I know what I'm saying. That's not a good thing for you, Abby. Like, I don't know.
But no, man. I think that's it this week, guys. That's our Dio. Last statements. Anything that you want to add?
Do I want to add what? Like some players?
No. Do you want to add anything about the draft?
I actually like a lot of these teams on here. From what I've seen, I can't see the whole board. I can't scroll up and down and look at them.
Yeah.
Last week's draft, I actually think there's a lot of solid teams in the. I don't think it's gonna be an easy league for Abby to just win. It's kind of even across the board, but anything can happen.
All right. That's our live main event, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, rate, subscribe. We're out.
We've come so far since we began this life. Been through the trenches, seen so many ups and downs, like we barely even touched the ground.